This time of the year is often associated with joy, celebration and togetherness. But for many, the holidays can also bring about difficult emotions. I'm joined by clinical psychologist Lindile Mbata, who will help us explore these feelings and provide insights onto how to cope during this time of the year. Welcome back to Afternoon Express.
Thanks for having me, Zee.
So lovely to have you here. Slee, this is I know it's a celebration. When you just got onto set, you said, thank goodness it's the end of the year. But for many, it can also be a really tough time, right?
Absolutely.
How do we navigate that?
Sure. I mean, the end of the year already feels like it is everything coalescing to this one point in time. It's a review of your life. You know, what have you done for the year? Do you have a partner? Are you closer to marriage? If maybe you know, if that's a question in your life. But also there's so much expectation.
Yeah.
There's so much expectation that things will be great. They'll be fantastic. We will give gifts. We spend time with family. So there's a lot that's expected of us at this time of year.
I have to say, why do we put that expectation on ourselves? Is it because of like social media and what we see in terms of social constructions, or is it a normal human thing that we do?
Absolutely. I think there are a lot of social constructions around, you know, the festive season or the end of year. If you even think about the theme of movies you see at that time, you know, so much of it has to do with love and family, and things just being magical at this point in the year. And that's so far removed from reality. But, you know, unfortunately, that is the world that we live in. So there is an expectation that we would be getting together with friends, with family members. And that, of course, yes, that involves a lot of money being spent and a lot of questions around our lives and ourselves.
Talking about money being spent, how do we navigate that element of our lives when we feel the pressure to have to gift, for example, you know, in order to celebrate, but we are not financially secure at that moment?
Yeah, I think this is one of the things where, you know, we really have to control what we can control. We can't always control the expectations of others that they would have gifts, that they would even have more expensive gifts, better gifts than last year. And a part of it is also comparing yourself with other people and not necessarily taking into account the position that you are in. So I think the main thing is really to be honest with, you know, those that you do care about. Just, you know, if there's a difference this year, if things have shifted around financially, if you can communicate that. But otherwise, I think if it means you just give gifts that aren't as expensive, then that's what you do. If it's things that are handmade, then that's what you do. But I think it's more important to be honest with yourself, and perhaps with those who will be understanding rather than putting yourself under pressure.
I love what you say there. I think that when you start with honesty yourself and you say, this year, this is what I can or can't afford, you almost dilute the shame or the guilt or the expectation that, you know, can come from you not giving what you think other people are expecting. And don't you find that sometimes we're putting that pressure on ourselves? Like someone's not always expecting any, you know, an elaborate gift, but we feel the need to have to do that because perhaps we are comparing ourselves to other people who are bigger gift givers.
Yes, exactly. And I think even, you know, within our own families, even as a parent, it's okay to sort of say, even with your kids, you know what, guys, this year, we're not going to go as big for Christmas, and that's fine. It's also okay for them to understand that life takes us through different cycles. Sometimes hardships happen, and that's okay. Let's normalize that so they don't go through a cycle themselves, you know, of putting themselves under pressure to sort of show up all the time during this festive season.
I really think it's such a powerful thing to normalize what happens in real life, because in real life, whether we are talking about emotions or finances, one is going to go through ups and downs. And when you bring that home to the reality of this being the truth only at this moment, it normalizes stuff, which is what we need more of in the world.
Yes.
I want to shift the focus to mental health now, because, you know, this can also be a lonely, isolated period of time for people that are navigating grief or loss or anything in between. How do you navigate that it's a festive period of time, but you are not internally feeling festive?
Yes, so I mean, the one thing, it's definitely to not compel yourself to be feeling anything other than what you are feeling. I think at times, you know, sometimes people want to avoid some of the grief feelings that are there. You might throw yourself into a lot of events, or else you might go the complete opposite direction and withdraw. And remove yourself from social situations. So I think it's a time when you can also incorporate, you know, those loved ones that you missed, those that you have lost, and actually create rituals around holding them in mind, celebrating their life and the role that they played in your life, but perhaps creating something special, special moments around having those people and not just experiencing their absence.
Yeah.
So perhaps it's something even to do, even with family, if you know that it's a grief that is shared, that is something that we can look more into rather than avoiding it or pretending it's not there.
That's really powerful. I love that. In terms of someone that is experiencing, I don't know, not being invited to, you know, a Christmas celebration and feeling all alone, and that is your reality, which you have to normalize for yourself. What would you say to someone like that in terms of preparing, you know, for Christmas Day, the day before, the day after, around feeling secure in that moment? And are there any suggestions, you know, that you may give to some of your clients when it comes to this period of time on how they can be with other people on Christmas Day or just before Christmas or just after?
Yes, you know, that's important because not everybody's going to be able to be with friends or family around this time. So one thing that I'll say is definitely focus on looking after yourself.
Okay.
Because it's very easy to slip into a lot of sadness around that, the loneliness of, you know, what it feels like to be on your own. But I would also encourage certain people, you know, to not be afraid, for example, to reach out to others, whether it's a neighbor. Perhaps you can look at doing something nice for your neighbors, baking some cookies for friends, and actually do something that helps you to help others feel good.
I like
And that way you don't have to focus on how terrible it feels, you know, for you to be within your loneliness, but to know that that can be a time that you actually use in order to help others feel good about
I love that.
themselves.
That's so powerful because sometimes we wait to receive when actually there's so much immense joy that comes from giving. Thank you so much. It's always an absolute pleasure having you here on Afternoon Express.
Thank you for having me.
The holidays can indeed be a mixed bag of emotions, and it's so important to recognize that it is okay to not be okay. Remember that you are not alone and there are strategies to help you cope. After the break, we show you how to put together an alfresco festive table, and we'll see you in a bit.